Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We find ourselves here on a Thursday, Yom Chamishi, albeit a very, very difficult day for our people, as the news and images from Israel are coming forth here in our time zone. And while we had davened and prayed and hoped against hope, and unfortunately, sometimes the Kadosh Baruch Hu says no. And the excruciating result and the cruelty of our enemies, who we have full faith will get the fates that they deserve. In the meantime, there's not much that we can say or do. We can bond together, and we can daven, and we can commiserate with one another, and we can console one another and try to be better for one another. But I think the collective heart of the Jewish people is broken today. We continue to daven for Chayalei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, for Shalom L'chol Petzuei Yisrael, and a safe return of all of our hostages. And we know what that means. It means some who are alive, and unfortunately many who are not, deserve Kvuras Yisrael. And we dedicate our learning every day L'ilui Nishmat Seren Daniel Shemen, or of their own Visheli Hashem Yikam Damo. The next chapter we have is Mi Mitztaref LeMinyan. Minyan hu tzirv shel asar Yehudim zecharim sheish behem das v'achrayis litztaref l'davar shebekdusha. So a minyan is defined as the combination of 10 adult males who have the knowledge, the responsibility to join in a davar shebekdusha. Ala katan she'ein bo kol kach das v'achrayis einu mitztaref leminyan. But someone who is a minor who doesn't have this qualification cannot join a minyan. Umishoshin is chay b'mitzvos harehu mitztaref leminyan, and he becomes, of course, part of the minyan when he becomes what we call bar mitzvah. He becomes obligated in the mitzvos. Yesh ma'rishonim shesovim shad shas adchak tisha mevugarim yicholim litzaref yamem leminyan katam shemachzik biyad chumash. There are some rishonim will hold that at a time of great need, when you have only 9 adult males and you have one minor, that if the minor is holding a chumash, that this can count as a minyan. And according to most authorities, though, this is not an acceptable practice. Even in a time of great need, you cannot count a minor for a minyan. However, if this will cause a situation where if this happens regularly and they don't have the minyan, that people will just stop coming to shul, they may leave Judaism or something like that, then maybe you can add a katan to the minyan. Interesting note here, bringing a lot of the poskim. I could just tell you anecdotally that as a child, the shul which I davened, they struggled to get a minyan in the mornings, and there are many, many occasions where I sat with an open chumash as the 10th. I felt very important. I felt very much part of the group, and as a practicing rabbi now, I mean, there haven't been many times where I've had to do this, but I've never relied on this shita to add a katan to the minyan. Shota she'ein bodas, someone who is not well and doesn't have mental capacity, kagon sheposhedes begadav ma'avdam einem mitztaref leminyan. So someone, let's say, who behaves in an erratic fashion and is clearly someone who's emotionally unstable, cannot count for the minyan. Umishu lefa'amim ma'abedes sviyoso dato, lefa'amim chozo lesviyoso, ve'eshu ma'abedes sviyoso dato, einem mitztaref leminyan, kushchoz leviyoso mitztaref. So let's say somebody who comes in and out has moments of clarity or not. So during the moments of clarity, can be part of the minyan, otherwise not. Shikor kalot she'enu yodea ma shenase ito einu mitztaref leminyan. Someone who is so intoxicated, and these are the case like Lot, where he really doesn't know what happened. And you refer to the story in Parshas Vayera. But if someone who is so intoxicated they don't even know what happens to him, he doesn't know what's happening to him, he cannot count as a minyan. Always a question that comes up on Purim, and this year on Purim Meshulish, which Purim Seuda goes basically into Shabbos, Friday night davening. We'll see how that plays out. And even somebody who's regularly intoxicated, who doesn't know how to speak in front of the king, in other words, he just can't speak clearly, also shouldn't count for the minyan. Cherish Ilaim, a deaf mute, so this comes up often in halacha, the status of a deaf mute, and someone who doesn't have the ability to learn or to necessarily understand the mitzvos. So the psak halacha is he's like a shota, that he's exempt from mitzvos. Umemela Einam Mitzaref LaMinyan, and that means that he would not be part of the Minyan. B'doros ha'acharonim, Nimsa Shita L'Lamed Charashim Elim Liskasher B'Sfas HaSimanim L'Karov L'Chtov. He says in later generations, when we're able to teach communication methods such as sign language, and they can learn how to write and to read. And nowadays, someone who's deaf or someone who's mute could still understand mitzvos and can read, etc. If they know how to learn, so if they know how to learn and they understand mitzvos, then they would certainly join and be a part of the minyan. Also, in the note here, he has a very, very long note about sign language, which was really very fascinating. That's worth looking at, again, a little bit beyond our purview. But I think just saying we're changing the definition of what we call cheresh ilim, that was pater min mitzvahs in the Torah and the Gemara, and realizing that we've come a long way today, then perhaps even remove them from that category and created situations where they are certainly part of the minyan. I think that our understanding and ability to deal with those with special needs has really leapt tremendous amounts in the last number of decades. And whereas, let's say, somebody, just an innocuous case, somebody with Down syndrome, where they never had an understanding to deal with them, now can have bar mitzvahs and can have participation in minyanim and special programs. I think that certainly nobody would put them in the category of a cheresh and ilim, and certainly would count them from minyan. And certainly we have different views. So that's just one of the brighter spots in halacha, where today's understanding and our ability to grasp certain situations can also alter their halachic status in the betterment of our entire community. So that's the importance of who can join the minyan, and please continue davening for Chalei Tzvah Ganei Yisrael, for Shalom L'Chol Petzui Yisrael, and the safe return of all of our hostages. Nishmat and Daniel Shimon Rav Derom V'Shalom V'Damo. And may we all today find collective consolation. We'll see you here tomorrow.